Look up at the night sky. The planets you can see, Mars glowing red, Jupiter bright and steady, Saturn with its rings. Are they simply rocks that settled wherever gravity happened to leave them after billions of years of chaos? Or is there something else going on? What if the solar system is not random? What if the planets are tuned, like the strings of a cosmic instrument? And the silence between Mars and Jupiter marks the place where a note is missing. That is the question at the heart of this presentation, a mathematical discovery, a scientific mystery, and a convergence with the oldest cosmological text ever written. The search for a mathematical law governing planetary spacing is not new. Astronomers have been attempting it for 4 centuries.
Johannes Kepler proposed in 1619 that the 5 Platonicum solids nest inside one another could explain the gaps between the 6 known planets.
A beautiful idea, but one that produced errors of over 10%. When Uranus was discovered, the model collapsed entirely. There simply weren't enough geometric shapes to accommodate a 7th planet. The Titius-Bode law of 1772 took a purely numerical approach and achieved roughly 2.5% accuracy for the inner system. But it broke catastrophically at Neptune. The silver ratio harmonic framework, developed by independent researcher Salaheddin Gerbi in 2026, does something neither model could. It covers all 9 planets with a mean error of just 0.72%, and it doesn't break down at the outer solar system. To put that precision in context, Kepler's model was off by more than 10%, Titius-Bode by 2.5. The silver ratio framework achieves sub 1% accuracy across the entire solar system. From Mercury to Pluto, with a probability of random chance at 1 in 10 trillion. This is not numerology. The formulas are explicit, the deviations are measurable, and the predictions are falsifiable. Geometry forms the foundation of all natural patterns. From the simplest grid to the most complex structures, mathematics reveals the hidden order in our universe. The key to the framework lies in a remarkably simple geometric construction, the Celtic Cross. Start with a 3x3 grid of equal unit squares. From the center, draw concentric circles outward. Add 4 smaller circles anchored at the inner corners of the central square of the 4x3 grid. The diagonal of any unit square is intrinsically the square root of 2. And as the circles expand, their radii are entirely determined by the square root of 2 and its derivatives. 4 harmonic constants emerge naturally from this construction.
D equals the square root of 2 minus 1. A equals the square root of 2. C equals 2 times the square root of 2 minus 1.
And B equals 1 plus the square root of 2, the silver ratio itself, which we call delta S. This is not a construction invented for the purpose of fitting planetary data. It is the geometry that ancient stonemasons carved into Celtic crosses across Britain and Ireland over 1,000 years ago. Long before the telescope, long before Newton, long before anyone knew what a planet beyond Saturn was. Everything that follows in this framework is built on this single foundational number. But the most significant output of the framework is not its accuracy over known planets. It is its prediction of an unknown one. Following the harmonic ladder outward from the Sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars. The mathematics identifies a structurally necessary position at 214 astronomical units, right inside the inner main asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, where the geometry demands a major planetary body, but where none currently exists. The framework calls this missing body Harmonia. Its algebraic prediction places it at 2.142 anastromolic units. The Harmonia node acts as the critical resonance boundary, dividing the rocky inner planets from the outer gas giants. It is the fulcrum of the solar system. The asteroid belt in this framework is not an empty gap. It is a graveyard. Or perhaps a scar. The concrete foundation is there. The plumbing is intact. The house is missing. There is a piece of evidence in the mathematics that I find more striking than any other. More striking than the 0.72% accuracy. More striking than the three-way convergence at 214 AU. It is this: when the framework is optimized around the Harmonia position, Neptune's residual error crosses zero. Neptune, the eighth planet, nearly 30 AU from the Sun, roughly 4.17 billion kilometers from the inner asteroid belt where Harmonia should be, and yet its mathematical fit is exquisitely sensitive to whether or not a body exists at 2.14 astomotic units. When the model scans the region between 2.10 and 2.18 AU, measuring the error for every planet at each position, the residual curves for all 9 planets sweep and shift. But at exactly 21437 AU, the bottom of the harmonic basin, Neptune's curve crosses zero. Not approximately zero, zero. 3 entirely independent mathematical realities converge at this exact point. The algebraic Silva-Raymonde prediction at 2142 AU, the empirical optimums 1437 AU, and pi to the 2/3 power at 145 NU, all within 0.07% of each other. And at that exact coordinate, Neptune's error inverts. This is not a local effect. It is a global, systemic signature. The Harmonia node is the fulcrum of the entire solar system. Neptune is 30 AU away, yet its mathematical fit depends on whether Harmonia exists. There is another way to understand what Harmonia represents, and it comes from music. When you convert the planets' orbital distances using a logarithmic formula from the Celtic Cross rithios, they map onto a coherent musical scale. Mercury sits at a major 9th below Earth. Venus at a perfect 4th below. Earth is the unison, the reference note. Mars sits at a tritoin above. Jupiter spans 2 octaves, Saturn 2 octaves and a major 3rd, Uranus 3 octaves, Neptune 3 octaves and a major 3rd, Pluto 4 octaves above Earth. This is not metaphor. These intervals emerge directly from the same rational functions of delta S that give the formwork its extraordinary predictive accuracy. And when you calculate Harmonia's musical interval using the same formula, it falls at a major 7th above Earth. The major 7th, the leading tone, the most restless, most forward-leaning, most harmonically necessary note in the entire scale. In classical harmony, the major 7th is the note that creates irresistible tension toward resolution. Play it and leave it hanging, and something tightens. The music is incomplete. The chord is suspended. The Solar Symphony, it seems, may have a missing instrument. And now we arrive at a convergence that I have been careful to frame precisely because it deserves both honesty and curiosity.
In October 2025, the mathematical prediction of Harmonia at 2.14 astronomical units was published and peer-deposited on Zenodo.
It was derived purely from the geometry of the Celtic Cross. It had nothing to do with mythology, ancient texts, or the history of cosmology. Several months earlier, I had written separately about the Unma Ilish, one of the oldest written cosmological texts in human history. Composed in ancient Babylon, drawing on Sumerian sources of considerably greater antiquity, it describes a large primordial body called Tiamat, positioned between Mars and Jupiter, which was shattered in a catastrophic collision with a rogue celestial body. Her fragments scattered. The asteroid belt in this reading is what remains of Tiamat. These two threads were developed independently, one magical, one historical. They arrived at the same region of the solar system. I want to be precise. The Enuma Elish is not a scientific document. The ancient parallel is cultural and philosophical, not empirical evidence. The math stands alone. Yet the same region, 2.14 AU, is where the oldest cosmological text describes a destroyed planet. Two independent lines of inquiry, one pointing from equations, one pointing from ancient memory, both pointing at the same silence between Mars and Jupiter. A scientific hypothesis is only as good as its ability to be tested and potentially proven wrong. The framework offers two tests. First, the solar system test, high-precision surveys of the asteroid belt, including Gaia. It should reveal gravitational clustering, density enhancement, or resonance structure near 2.1437 AU. Second, the exoplanet Skaffold. As the James Webb characterized distant planetary systems, the framework can be applied to each one. If other solar systems also exhibit silver radio spacing, we may have found a universal architectural principle of astrophysics. The blueprint is drawn. The universe awaits measurement.
We started with a question. Are the planets randomly scattered, or are they tuned? The silver ratio harmonic framework suggests the latter, with 99.28% accuracy, a missing body at 2.14 UU, and a Neptune zero crossing the fulcrum of the solar system. The musical scale of the planets places Harmonia at the major seventh, the leading tone whose absence leaves the Solar Symphony suspended. And the oldest cosmological text ever written places a destroyed planet in the same region that the Mathemax now independently predicts. Full research available, book on author's website, paper on Zenodo, scripts and figures on GitHub.
The Gaia mission is mapping the asteroid belt. The James Webb Space Telescope is characterizing distant worlds. The answers are coming. The pattern was always there. The cross was the key.